Open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. My name is Orrett Connor. I'm guest hosting for Sterling Duaney Banks this afternoon. And if you are tired of hearing my voice today, since I was on For the Record earlier this morning as well, I have been joined in the studio by the host of Business Buzz, Miss Kathy Miller. We're going to continue to talk about the whole issue of taxation, the private members' motion that is being brought by MP Chris Saunders, seconded by Honorable W. McKeeva Bush. We're going to continue that discussion that she had on the Business Buzz on Thursday.
It was Tuesday.
So on Tuesday morning as well. So we expect that you will join us in the conversation. Please stay tuned. We will be back shortly.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard.
And now, back to Sterling Duane Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. My name is Orrett Connor, filling in for Sterling Duaney Banks. In the studio with me, Miss Kathy Miller, the host of the Business Buzz, which is broadcast Tuesdays and Thursdays. And this past Tuesday, she discussed the motion that is being proposed by independent MP, Mr. Chris Saunders, a motion to establish healthcare protection fund for seniors and children in the Cayman Islands. Want to remind you that this is not an exclusive topic, not an exclusive discussion this afternoon. So if you have any questions, comments, if you have other topics that you want to talk about, or if you want to engage in this one as well, you can call us on our numbers. The toll-free number, if functioning, 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp number 925-3261. Kathy, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today. Pleasure to have you in the studio to continue this discussion as well.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, OC, for having me. And I just want to say, I don't think anybody's sick of hearing your voice. So you can relax knowing that.
Okay, I'm going to delegate you to share the motion with our listening and viewing audience as well, as it has been proposed by MP Chris Saunders.
Okay, so you want me to read the motion?
Yes,
okay.
Right.
You know, listeners, I didn't know that he was just going to all of a sudden throw that on me right now. I feel like we're getting a call and maybe that's going to save me right now. But okay, this is the motion. Verbatim. Motion to establish healthcare protection fund for seniors and children. And whereas the Cayman Islands Constitution affirms our commitment to being a country committed to the democratic values of human dignity, equality, and freedom. And whereas the Cayman Islands Constitution affirms our commitment to being a country that provides a comprehensive healthcare system. And whereas there is a major concern among all Caymanians to the cost and coverage of health insurance, particularly as it relates to persons over 65 years of age. And whereas there is much concern, almost to crisis level, among Caymanian senior citizens about the costs, affordability, and their access to high-quality healthcare through the end of their lives. And whereas the Cayman Islands, as an aging indigenous population, as reflected by an average voter age of 53 as of the 1st of October 2024. And whereas Section 17 of the Cayman Islands Constitution Order 2009 calls for the protection of children. And whereas Section 17(1) of the Cayman Islands Constitution Order 2009 requires the legislator to enact laws to provide every child and young person under the age of 18 with such facilities as would aid their growth and development. And whereas Section 17(1)(c) of the Cayman Islands Constitution Order 2009 requires a legislature to ensure that every child has the right to basic health care services. And whereas Section 17(2) of the Cayman Islands Constitution Order 2009 requires a legislature to proceed on the basis that a child's best interest is of paramount importance. And whereas the money collected from the segregated insurance fund inadequately covers the costs of health care for indigents in the Cayman Islands, be it therefore resolved that the government considers establishing a health care protection fund to offset the costs of providing free health care to all Caymanians under the age of 18 and over the age of 65, effective the 1st of January 2026. And be it further resolved that the government considers enacting legislation to implement an annual fee of 2% on all real estate properties owned by non-Caymanians, non-permanent residents, and non-Caymanian legal entities to fund the Health Insurance Protection Fund effective the 1st of January 2026. And be it further resolved that government considers making the necessary changes to existing legislation and regulations to identify all non-Caymanians, non-permanent residents, and non-Caymanian legal entities that own real estate in the Cayman Islands and the value of the real estate as of December 31st, 2025. And be it further resolved that where real estate is partly owned by Caymanians, permanent residents, or Caymanian legal entities, that their percentage ownership be exempted from the 2% fee, and be it further resolved that any real estate engaged in providing educational or medical services to the people of the Cayman Islands be exempted from the annual fee of 2%. That's the end.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. And what we will do, Ms. Susan, we're going to come back to you at this point in time for a commercial break. When we return, then I will share with you what Mr. Chris Saunders has sent out in his communique in relation to the private members' motion and his 3 issues that we can no longer afford to ignore anymore in the Cayman Islands. Please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
A $5,000 reward is being offered for the return of a missing dog that goes by the name of Spiky Haggis. Spiky is white cream in color and is a Pomeranian mix. He is a small dog that has a distinctive scar above his left hip. He went missing over a week ago in the area of Selkirk Drive and Bimini Drive. The public is asked to keep their eyes peeled for Spiky, and if anyone has any information on the missing Pomeranian mixed dog, please call Cayman Vets at 525-5838. The number again is 525-5838.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
This holiday season, let Kirk Market do the roasting so you can do the hosting. Visit in-store or shop online and order your traditional family feast, complete with classic roasted turkey and ham, all the tasty sides and trimmings. Let the chefs at Kirk Market be your holiday helpers so you can spend less time in the kitchen. Order online at kirkmarket.ky or visit in-store today. And don't forget to visit the florist at Kirk Market to find the perfect centerpiece for your table. There's no place like Kirk Market for the holidays.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. In the studio with me, Ms. Kathy Miller. She shared with you the private member's motion that is going to be brought in our Parliament by Independent Member of Parliament, Mr. Christopher Saunders, and seconded by Honourable W. McKeeva Bush. Mr. Saunders, in his communique to his constituents, as well as to the, I would say, the general public in the Cayman Islands, he starts out by saying, "My friends, there are three issues we can no longer afford to ignore anymore. One, the current crisis we have where many of our seniors are struggling with the cost of health insurance. Two, the bigger crisis we are going to have as a result of having an aging population. This crisis, if left unchecked, will destroy our way of life. Three, our monthly pensions have not and will not be enough to cover the cost of a proper health insurance plan in retirement. Simply put, we can no longer afford to ignore these three issues anymore." He went on to say, "Earlier this week, I filed a motion asking the government to establish a health care protection fund and to also enact legislation to charge an annual 2% fee on all real estate properties owned by foreigners, with two exceptions. Those two exceptions to this real estate property fee are properties owned by foreigners that are engaged in educational or medical services to the people of the Cayman Islands. Additionally, I want to be clear on three things. If you are a Caymanian, a permanent resident, or a legal entity owned by a Caymanian or a permanent resident, this does not apply to you. If you are a Caymanian or a PR holder and you are a part owner of a company or legal entity that owns real estate, this also does not apply to you. If a foreign person or foreign entity owns real estate that is providing educational or medical services to the people of the Cayman Islands, they are exempt from the annual fee. And then the seconder of the motion, also Mr. McKeever Bush, also added, as many of you are aware, this healthcare crisis did not happen overnight. 20 years ago, a generation ago, my UDP government recognized this issue when we created the Health Services Authority, Synico, and the Segregated Insurance Fund. Back then, the cost to cover many of our people that had inadequate or no health insurance was approximately $6 million per year. The government created the Segregated Insurance Fund to raise $3 million to cover half the cost. Last year, 19 years later, at the end of 2023, just over 2,000 Caymanians required assistance from the government at a cost of $80 million to the Caymanian taxpayer, which was offset by just over $5 million raised from the Segregated Insurance Fund, an amount well below the cost. In short, the Caymanian taxpayer added to cover the additional $75 million. In short, the Caymanian taxpayer, I believe what was meant there, had to cover the additional $75 million. And then Chris, in the, I think this was their
video.
Video?
Yeah, this was just pretty much what they said in their video.
Yeah. Chris goes on to say, my friends, as McKeever just stated, that $75 million covered 2,000 people. I want you to consider this now. On the 1st of October 2024, there were 23,525 Caymanians, 29 Caymanians registered to vote. The average age of all voters was 53 years of age, which is 12 years away from retirement age. What will become of those 14,000 Caymanians when they hit 65 years of age? And will the government be in a financial position to assist those Caymanians who may need assistance when they retire? My friends, this issue is even bigger when we consider that 53% of the registered voters are women who on average live 5 years longer than men in the Cayman Islands and will require longer medical insurance. My friends, neither McKeever nor I are fans of anyone paying fees, so this is not a proposal we made very lightly. We have discussed this issue with many people in our community, and they all agreed these issues can no longer be ignored. Mr. Bush then goes on to say, as I highlighted recently, there are many challenges still facing the Caymanian people, and my focus now is ensuring that we all leave behind a better Cayman. The next generation and all Caymanians must know that better must come. That better must come. Chris, I want to thank my good friends, Attorney Samuel Jackson and Dr. Sidney Ebanks, for keeping this issue relevant on my radar, and more importantly, Honorable McKeever Bush for the courage to second this motion and put it in the public domain for discussion and consideration. My friends, part of being an elected representative is making hard decisions, and I wish there was an easy solution to the special interest groups that will have concerns, and rightfully so. I would be more than happy to meet with you to discuss the issue to see if we can find a better way forward. I will be happy to hear your thoughts. Until then, may God continue to bless you and continue to bless the people of the Cayman Islands. One love, Cayman. That was from Mr. Christopher Saunders. We do have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Connell. Good afternoon to Miss Miller.
Good afternoon, sir. Good to hear your voice.
Thank you. Thank you. No government can exist without taxes. No government can exist without taxes. This is 26 years late, but I'm glad to see that our members of parliament have awoken or are willing, I'm sure they knew it before, that the system was unworkable, health insurance system. I said it 26 years ago upon them. Its inception, I think it came in fully into force as a law, mandatory, 1998, I think. And I said it from then that this is unconscionable and unacceptable. I'm sure a lot of people remember me saying that, and I continue to say it every year, several times a year I've said it. It's not working, it cannot work, and it will never work. Anything mandatory taken from people's salaries should be paid to the government as a tax. As a tax. The simple way to solve this problem, we know this, they're unwilling to do it. I'll say this at the risk of my little job, but it's a system of direct income tax. Income tax, not direct taxes. The difference. Direct income tax. Everybody pays a small sum of money, as they do everywhere. I know Canada's system very well. I have very close family living here. I lived and worked here a couple of years. For over 60, nearly 60 years, many of them. It works very well. It's paid into your income tax. You have health insurance there, but it's voluntary. And all the other countries, all of Europe, England, the mother country we call it, or father country if you want to call it that now, has it for years. It works. A small portion of your income, if you're not earning anything or very much, you don't pay anything. It's very simple.
Should it be a progressive tax in terms of the more that you earn, or should it be a percentage straight across the board, except for those?
Percentage. It can be a percentage straight across the board.
Okay.
You've got people earning $6 an hour. They can work that out if they want to make it progressive, and are paying into a health insurance that offers nothing. But it's mandatory. They have to do it. And when they go to the medical service personnel, the doctors, or the government, they still have to pay a portion of 20%. And sometimes it doesn't cover it. They have to pay the whole thing themselves. A person earning $6, $10 an hour, $215, $260 is a big bite out of their little salary. That's why I said it's impossible. It cannot work. $150 a month, $180 a month for nothing, and at the end of you used up or maxed it out with a few $100, but you still have to go to the doctors, and you still have to pay, and you have to pay into the insurance, because our wise parliamentarians at the time, Legislative Assembly members, decided to make it mandatory. So you're paying into things, getting no service. That is wrong. It's unfair, it's unconscionable, it's unjust. I say the simple way to solve it. I'm glad Mr. Saunders and Mr. McKeever Bush are doing this, bringing it forward, but I think it should be like yesterday, not the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026. But I still maintain that the simplest, easiest way is a simple tax. A small amount of money would amount to maybe $15 a month for the lowest paid people. maybe a little more, maybe a little bit less. We have no way of knowing what people earn here because, again, when we see the statistics office gives these figures, those are just guesses. Many, many people here are paid in cash. We know that. In cash. So we have no real idea of what our GDP really is. Those are figures we grasp out of the air. I've said that and I'll stand by that. We can do it. There are people here, as you know, as Miller knows, I'm sure, the financial world and all the other young people know it too, and the older people well know that there are people here earning thousands of dollars a day. Thousands of dollars a day. They should be paying their fair share. Consumer-based, consumption-based, taxation, it's not fair.
But shouldn't those that are making more pay more?
Yes, but the point I'm making is if they're paying a 5% of that or 10% of it,
okay, yeah,
that's a good chunk of money. And there are hundreds of people here earning good salaries. If you want to take it from $80,000 a year salary up and so forth, yes. And if they're Caymanians, you can give a special, I believe in that, a special sort of, what do we call it again? A special rebate on certain things so you'd pay less money. It can be done. Don't tell me it can't. There are lots of great brains in the government can work this out in the Health Insurance Commission, and we don't have to create any new division in government. And no, we don't. We have it already there. The mechanics are there. The system is there. The technocrats are there. It can be done. It can be done. It's just courage. Winston Churchill's famous word. Courage. The first of all our things that we need to move ourselves forward, because it gives rise to all the others if we have courage. It can be done, and I say that is the way to move forward with this. I stand by what I say. We're going to have to do it. Implement some form of direct income tax here to ease it, just like Bermuda does. Payroll tax only. So we're not taxing the big investors. You're not running them away. We're not running them away. We're letting the people here who have come here, many are foreigners, earning big, huge money, and they used to pay income tax where they come from, so they can't say it's new thing on them.
Yep.
Let them pay their fair share. Let them pay their fair share and take the burden off the backs of the little man.
Got you very much.
Stand by
Thank
this.
you.
I will never move from that position.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for giving me the time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, as well. We're going to take a commercial break. Ms. Cathy, when we return, that raises, a lot of questions. There are some concerns that persons may have about the potential of capital flight from the Cayman Islands. Those who say, well, you're going to tax those now. Who are you coming for next? And those are things that we can discuss. We can also talk about health and lifestyles. How do we encourage that to ensure that, people are much healthier, which means less demands on our health services as well. And the huge question, those persons who are well-to-do, the wealthy that the callers spoke about, are they the ones that really using the basic healthcare services that government has to pump money into every year, or can they afford to have their own private doctors, or to fly off to another jurisdiction as soon as something happens to them, or do their companies give them such coverage that even after retirement that they may have some as well? So much to discuss.
So many questions to ask.
Okay, let's take that commercial break. Miss Susan, please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Prescription refills made easy at Savannah Pharmacy. WhatsApp your prescription refills to 929-5045.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Williams Productions proudly presents the 2024 Gospel Fest. This year, bringing you award-winning artists Jeff and Sherry Easter. Alongside the incredible Marshall Hall. All live in concert, December 31st at First Baptist Church. Gates open at 6 p.m. Concert starts at 7. So come early and get ready for a night of unforgettable music. Tickets are $25 pre-sale or $35 at the gate. Funds raised will help to support Inclusion Cayman. Grab yours today at Funky Tanks or the Cayman Islands Conference. Celebrate, sing, and start your new year right at Gospel Fest 2024. Don't miss it. The 2024 Gospel Fest is proudly sponsored by Office of the Premier, Cayman First, Health City, Hides & Sons, Value Med Pharmacy, Ministry of Border Control, Labor and Culture, Uncle Clem's, Physiotherapy Center, Ministry of Youth, Sports and Heritage, Praise 87.9, Ministry of Tourism and Ports, and Radio Cayman.
A $5,000 reward is being offered for the return of a missing dog that goes by the name of Spiky Haggis. Spiky is white cream in color and is a Pomeranian mix. He's a small dog that has a distinctive scar above his left hip. He went missing over a week ago in the area of Selkirk Drive and Bimini Drive. Public is being asked to keep their eyes peeled for Spiky, and if anyone has any information on the missing Pomeranian mixed dog, please call Cayman Vets at 525-5838. That's 525-5838.
Our only sale of the year is here. Yes, Black Friday is here at Winter Circle Sports, and so are those unbeatable prices, unbeatable deals. Everything is 10 to 50% off. Don't miss our famous small foot sales with sizes 5 to 7 on select shoes, discounted from 30 to 50% off. Choose from Skechers, Vans, Converse, Adidas, Timberlands, Under Armour, Nike, and Jordan. Get big brand names at rock bottom prices. Thank you to all our amazing customers for their support in the past 22 years. Shop today for the best deals and the widest selections. Winter Circle Sports, always a step ahead.
Radio Cayman Talk Today continues.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. My name is Orrett Connor, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks. In the studio with me, we have the host of the Business Buzz, Miss Kathy Miller. That program airs right here on Radio Cayman on Tuesdays and Thursdays. One of our listeners has written in and said, "Good afternoon. I'm listening to you speak on MP Saunders' motion to put a 2% on foreigners to subsidize us in our senior years. But he was the author and finisher of us raping our pensions account, and now he wants to redeem himself. Sounds hypocritical to me, but we know where he is and who's stoking him. He should talk about property and personal income tax he really wants to bring into force." So that listener, that writer, is skeptical about that. And I've heard the remarks about the allowing persons to access their pensions before. And, being a pensioner myself and having strong views about what a pension fund is designed to do, what it is designed for, and yet at the same time I get it, that there are persons who are at a critical stage now that need issues to be addressed now, and they're not even sure that they're going to reach a pensionable age to get that pension that they have been, putting aside, that they have been accumulating.
Right.
And I do get that. So I think, what was done in the past, allowing persons to withdraw from their pensions, made sense to a certain extent.
Now, my memory isn't always reliable, but I remember, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
I have a memory of Mr. Elio Solomon that had first suggested the pension withdrawal scheme, right? And that was a choice for people to do, right? And it wasn't for a certain age. It was for any Caymanian to be. And I know about a handful of younger Caymanians who did take advantage of that and bought a couple properties here. They were able to. So from the first one, then they were able to go into the second one. Amazing that they were in the position to be able to do that, but that was, and it actually still is a choice, because you can still withdraw on your pensions currently, right? It's I think last year they amended that again in December-ish. So I mean, to me, those are choices, and it did help some younger Caymanians if they chose. I don't know about if you're in your retirement age, or 65 and older. I'm not sure if you've done that and how that might have affected you, but it all comes down to the planning.
Yeah. And also, I think as far as those persons who were at risk of losing their homes and stuff, that those
help them.
Amendments were intended to assist them as well. Now, if we have gotten past all of that at this point in time, then that's a different story. But I don't think that we should necessarily pin that on him in terms of what he's trying to achieve now as well. Right. I think we've reached that point in time, Ms. Susan, where we're going to go back to our headline news, and then when we return, we will have about 30 minutes where we can continue to talk without any commercial breaks at that point in time. If you're listening in and if you feel like calling in, please do so. Our phone lines are open. Try 949-6990 or WhatsApp number 925-3261 as well. Please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm April Cummings. The deadline for feedback on plan to modernize legislation related to older persons is Monday, the 25th of November. If passed, the Older Persons Amendment Bill would enhance the protections and rights of seniors. The bill proposes strengthening the role of the Council for Older Persons and would empower a government department to be specifically responsible for seeking intervention orders where needed to help older persons. You can find the full bill online at gov.ky/publications. In international headlines, the Supreme Court is allowing a multi-billion-dollar class action investors lawsuit to proceed against Facebook parent Meta, stemming from the privacy scandal involving the Cambridge Analytica political consulting firm. The justices heard arguments in November in Meta's bid to shut down the lawsuit. Today, they decided they were wrong to take up the case in the first place. The High Court dismissed the company's appeal, leaving in place an appellate ruling allowing the case to go forward. Investors allege that Meta did not fully disclose the risks that Facebook users' personal info would be misused by Cambridge Analytica, a firm that supported Donald Trump's first successful Republican presidential campaign in 2016. A major storm continued to drop heavy snow and record rain today as it moved through northern California, closing roads and prompting evacuations in some areas after killing 2 people and knocking out power to hundreds of thousands in the Pacific Northwest. Forecasters warned the risk of flash flooding and rock slides would continue, and scores of flights were canceled at San Francisco's airport. In Washington state, more than 185,000 people, most in the Seattle area, remained without power as crews worked to clear streets of electrical lines, fallen branches, and debris. Utility officials said the outages, which began on Tuesday, could last into Saturday. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
This holiday season, let Kirk Market do the roasting so you can do the hosting. Visit in-store or shop online and order your traditional family feast, complete with classic roasted turkey and ham, all the tasty sides and trimmings. Let the chefs at Kirk Market be your holiday helpers so you can spend less time in the kitchen. Order online at kirkmarket.ky or visit in store today. And don't forget to visit the florist at Kirk Market to find the perfect centerpiece for your table. There's no place like Kirk Market for the holidays.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born in Watering Place, Cayman Brac, on the 8th day of July, 1936, Captain Fred Elman Scott was the 5th child born to Nalio and Vera Scott. Captain Scott worked the seas for over 52 years, a career which saw him span the global currents. In 1953, he joined his first ship, the Beretta, a local cargo vessel, signing on as deck boy, working his way up to bosun. In 1955, he joined National Bulk Carriers, working his way up to able-bodied seaman. In 1959, he signed on the Ore Meteor to go to Marine School in New York, attaining a 3rd mate's license. He joined the Bulk Petrel, as third officer, where during one voyage he was solely responsible for using Morse lamp signaling to save a sister ship which had run aground. He continued to flourish and attained second mate, chief mate, master mariner, and radio operator licenses. In October of 1969, he took a job on oil exploration ships as a captain in Brazil. Captain Scott would later move from Brazil, where he spent the next 20 years piloting cruise ships and tankers in Grand Cayman.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. My name is Orrett Connor and I'm filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks. In the studio with me, we have the host of the Business Buzz, Miss Kathy Miller. Business Buzz is broadcast live on Radio Cayman on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I would say the what do we call the person, the creator of that program, or Miss Susan? We need to give her credit.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's the one who's in charge of the business.
She's
Buzz.
the main producer of that show.
Producer
yes.
of that show as well. And on Tuesday, Miss Miller discussed the private members motion brought by Mr. Saunders. I believe we do have Mr. Saunders. Mr. Saunders has promised that he's going to call in. Meanwhile, those of you who have access, there's a company called Public Med Central. I Googled it, and it's National Library of Medicine. And the topic is the effect on population health status of using dedicated property taxes to fund local public health agencies. And before I share that, Ms. Kathy, we know that the discussion sort of veered off a little bit.
And went in the deep end right away.
Yes, yes. And the focus really is more on for property taxes and for health issues, for health services, as opposed to general taxes per se,
right.
income tax.
It's about creating a healthcare protection fund.
Yeah.
And that fund will be built, or it is suggested that that fund be built through a 2% annual fee on all real estate property owned by foreigners, with some exceptions. Now, we spoke about what some of those exceptions are, and I know our first caller came in hard with the direct income tax suggestion, and one of the comments I got after my show on Tuesday morning, was that no, we can't introduce any tax at all because it's going to be a trickle down, kind of a domino effect. It's just going to keep kind of widening the doors for government to continue to introduce taxes. Perhaps not. I just want to say that this is not a direct income tax at all. It is for foreigners owning property here. And when you look at it, a majority of property is owned by Caymanians and PR holders. So the issue that's happening is that...
And what is being built, if I may interrupt, what is being continued to be built, continued to be directed and geared towards foreigners and non-Cayman.
Big point about that is that the property here that foreigners may own, in the U.S., it's a non-reportable asset. So they don't have to report that asset whatsoever. So it is very lucrative for them to have property here. However, what does this mean? It marginalizes the opportunities for people here to buy property. They live here. We know that Caymanians are being pushed out of their own country. It's a strong statement from me, but I continuously say it. Even yesterday in the Business Buzz, after the show, I was speaking to a young man, and, you know, has a couple businesses going, but the idea was, I can't retire here. I can't retire here. And this is a continuous thing I'm hearing from friends. So what brings the cost of land up, the cost of living up, everything else? We gotta think of different opportunities and solutions for Caymanians to be able to thrive in their own country. And if you have a failing healthcare system or something that might be forecasted to fail, I'm not saying HSA is failing. If it's being forecasted that, okay, it's going to hit rock bottom here, then we need to think of solutions that can keep our healthcare system strong. Because once you have a crumbling healthcare system, you will have a crumbling society.
Yes, no question about it. Ms. Susan, has that call come through yet? Okay, meanwhile, so the background on this, the effects of on population health status of using dedicated property taxes to fund local public health agencies, and the authors are we have Peggy Honore, Peter Foss, and a few others. The background information is: in the United States, a dedicated property tax describes the legal authority given to a local jurisdiction to levy and collect a tax for a specific purpose. They investigated for an association of locally dedicated property tax to fund local public health agencies and improve health status in the 8 states designated as the Mississippi Delta region. Their methods were they analyzed the difference in health outcomes of counties with and without a dedicated public health tax after adjustment for a set of control variables using regression models for county levels data. The results, what they found was that levying a dedicated public health tax for counties with per capita income above $28,000 is associated with improved health outcomes of those counties when compared to counties without a dedicated property tax for public health. And then alternatively, levying a dedicated property tax on counties with lower per capita income is associated with poor health outcomes. That would be the equivalent here, for instance, to levying property taxes on a house, a property that is valued at $250,000, let's say $300,000, as opposed to one that's $550,000 and up, because we know in this day and age you can't purchase or build a home, for $300,000 and more. Right. We do have a caller. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Hey, good afternoon, to you and Kathy. This is Dominic Ebanks.
Good afternoon, Dominic. How are you?
Yeah, in a bit I couldn't stand it, listening to the conversation and about the wealthier paying a little bit more than less fortunate. I guess you could use that word.
Mm-hmm.
I do see the majority of electors, especially here in Cayman, not having an appetite for the government to be able to tax a lot of these foreign entities or individuals. It's something that it isn't really that hard to add a system like the previous caller had mentioned, Mr. Taxman, as we like to call Mr. Hurlston. We have a pension system that pretty much keeps a track of everybody's salaries, right? So being able to work a system like that in a similar way of just deducting an additional charge, whether we call it tax or we just add some other kind of charge, the word tax is the word that seems to be scary, obviously, to some people, but, we can always change that word and still debit them on a monthly basis based on their income. You know, the bill is something that I was surprised that for the past 3 years, with the more independent candidates that have been elected, that really none of them have tabled a bill towards, you know, say, benefiting Caymanians based on all this foreign investment that we're having, because it is an off balance going on between all of these foreigners buying up property, allowing them to be rented back out and holding on to them. And then one of the biggest problems that we have, I mean, we can't dictate how much you think your property is valued or my property is valued, but usually when you go get your property evaluated, or see, for example, if you bought your house, whether it was $500,000 or $200,000 at some point in time, when you go to get it evaluated nowadays, these companies that do these appraisals and stuff, they come back with the thing valued sometimes 2 or 3 times higher than even what you were expecting as an individual. And they are the ones driving up the prices, because at the end of the day, they're looking at it claiming that, you know, your neighbor sold his for $10 million, so you should be entitled to the same amount. So there's just so much little triggers going on when it comes to what's affecting the local. But as far as I can see is that all this foreign investment is hurting us Caymanians, and we need to implement some form of charges to them. And I'm not going to use the word tax, like I say, some form of charge, right? And that charge should be implemented the same way you do with your pension, and that money, instead of going on to your pension, it just goes to another entity that handles that and oversees it. And of course, you know, that we talked about people being paid in cash. Those lucrative people would obviously be left out because you can't monitor them as hard. But they do have employers who hold business license, be trading as business license, that should be reporting, you know, their salaries and the pensions that they pay to these individuals as well, whether they be paid by cash or not. You know, because the pension obviously has to be based on your salary. So I'm not going to really hold you guys up. I just was listening to the conversation. It's a very good one today. And it is something that, you know, whoever is going to table the bill, whether it's Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so, whoever tables those bills, and hopefully they get some of them passed and actually be able to implement them, whether the next government has to do it. But at least it's on the table for consideration, even if it, you know, doesn't get passed or whatever. But something needs to be done, because it's just so much stuff affecting Caymanians. And I can tell you, I had that dream like many Caymanians. You know, we know what the land cost was based on its work for a period of time. You've got a better job, you saved up money, you did what you had to do to, you know, get what you had. But when you went to finally try to purchase this dream, the dream was no longer there. You know, you had to now go back and try to work 10 times as hard now to get it, if you even can. But I thank you for the time, like I said, and I hope more people are encouraged to press on their MPs and so forth, whether it's going to be a future MP or the current MPs, to get them to push towards, you know, some form of charges to these individuals or companies that have so much money. And when you're talking about salaries, I know a lot of people personally that, you know, their annual salary be from, you know, $250,000, $500,000 a year, plus bonuses, plus all the other stuff. And when you look at it, you know, they go grocery store, you know, there's nothing more they're paying than me. They're just able to pocket all of this money without any additional contribution. And we see it happening with a lot of companies here, especially too, where the money is being shifted. I mean, if you take construction, for example, now we have so many people on permits that, you know, I don't know whether they're able to send anything back, because the cost of living here is quite high. But all of this development that we've had with construction, I was reading something that someone had posted on our neighbor next door, Jamaica, where they talked about how much money was being sent over there based on our development, because they are doing all the labor and money has to be sent home. And of course, we are making a little chip off of it too. But all of these things need to be, you know, scrutinized, and something needs to be done about it.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
Wait, Dominique. Don't hang up. I have a question for you. Because we know that this is a annual fee that's being proposed on foreign property investors here, so not the direct income tax thing. Do you think that if this motion was passed, do you think that opening the door for this fee, I'm not using the word taxation, I'm going to a bit of a euphemism here with fee, do you think that would now open the door for government to go harder and introduce even more taxes? I think that's a big fear that people have.
I mean, we saw the other day where Mr. Andre Ebanks tried to apply charges down to the credit union, and there was a feedback not only from his own party, but from that entity itself. And when you look at it, a lot of what's going on with the credit union, for example, they're starting to offer services that these other sort of commercial banks are doing, and they're intruding over on that side because your 11 family members or people who are marginal, everybody's moving away from the commercial bank, and credit union itself is now becoming like a commercial bank. The only thing they're short of is just adding a few ATMs and other stuff that the banks offer. So they should be having to pay. I mean, when you think about civil servants, and of course, I think civil servants work really hard, and they have it hard enough, and obviously to add any charges to them is not a nice thing. But at the same time, you have to sort of look at it that everybody have to pay this fair share.
So basically, what you're saying there is that if any attempts were made to extend or expand the whole concept of a taxation, that the people of the Cayman Islands would address that when faced with that, similarly to how they address the credit union situation, the fees for the credit union. That's what you're saying. Okay.
Exactly, because those electors, they go into the poll very shortly. And if these things are even tabled, just like it was just mentioned the other day, they're not even tabled, just mentioned and brought up, sort of push back from it. So with these bills being tabled from this public is now have their ear filled with what it is, and hopefully some of them would read up to what it means, and obviously not be persuaded by those individuals who make so much money that, whispers the scares into their ears. Will not be deterred, because what you're trying to do is to make sure that the people who make so much, and let me tell you, a lot of foreigners make so much money, and they're just shipping it overseas, and a lot of money is here too. But what I'm saying is, it's very unfair. I mean, when you look at it, that you have a boss making $250,000 to $500,000 a year, and when you go down to China, that money is not trickling down to those Caymanians, because they got this sort of ideology that if you're a receptionist, just use that for an example, the scale salary for a receptionist across the board right now is $1,200, $2,500 a year. But in reality, your company could pay this person $5,000 a year.
Per year or month? I believe you mean month.
$5,000 a month, because you all make so much money. But just because the system says, look, this is what a receptionist gets or this individual gets, that's what your salary is going to be.
Caller, I'm going to ask you to leave us there. We have a few more callers that are queued up. Again, thank you very much for that. Ms. Susan, let's grab the next caller. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today. Good.
How you doing?
Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
I am fine. I was just listening to the last caller, and I do understand some of the concerns. I didn't get to hear everything that he was saying, but I caught the last part of it. I listen, I recognize that this is something that is different, and I get it. You know what I mean? And as I said in the video, people will have concerns, and rightfully so. But what I can say to you is simply this, is that at a minimum, this is something that we need to look at and start having a national discussion. For too long, our politics have been on some really small stuff, when the bigger issues just continue to grow, and it's reached a point right now where it needs to be addressed. I give you an example. Back in 2018, the total healthcare cost across the entire government, core government, I should say, that does not include the SAG fees, which is the statutory authorities and the government-owned companies, was $141 million back in 2018. 5 years later, in 2023, it was $246 million.
Wow.
That is a $100 million increase in a 5-year period. And when the last finance committee that we had, and we were looking at NDS 55, which is the government vote that deals with indigent health care for non-HSA services, and HEA2. And when we saw the numbers, which HEA2 is the one, basically the care that you get at the Health Service Authority, I should say for the listening public. When I started looking at those numbers and remembering where they were coming from, bearing in mind that when this started 20 years ago, this year is actually 20 years ago, a generation ago, the total indigent healthcare cost was like $6 million. And the government used to collect half of that amount from the segregated insurance fund. So, and that is that part of the people's health insurance bill, or where you look and you see where your family plan, like a $10 a month, $20 a month, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And individual plans and so forth. We collected $3 million from that. So the government put out $3 million, and the segregated insurance fund collected $3 million. When we started especially looking at 2023, the total cost for 2023 is around $78 million, but we collected $6.6 million from the segregated insurance fund. So that's a $71 million shortfall.
Yep.
And it has been like that now for quite some time. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is, if that only covered for 2,069 people, so 2,000 people roughly cost us $78 million. When we have an aging population, and as I said, if you look at the voter list, as of October 1st, so we had over 23,000 people on it. In the next, and the average voter age was 53. In the next 12 years, they're going to be 65. We have 14,000 people that will be hitting the age of 65 in the next 12 years. Granted, some will be gradually going on to, but I'm talking like the bulk of it, that's going to be happening. So it's not a situation where we can sit down and just say, you know what? When we look at it, we'll see that 78 million for 39, for 2,000 people is averaging about 39,000, 40,000 per person. You know what I mean? When you take that and you put that even against 5,000 people, because granted, some will need it, some won't need it. But you're talking about 6,000 people, and then you add it on to what we have right here. In the next 12 years, you're talking about a bill of around $300 million. So rather than sit down and be caught off guard, we say, you know what, let's start taking the steps in place from now to put together a fund. And the most important thing, mostly, which I didn't address in the video, but when we sat down and really started thinking about it, we live in a service-based economy. And it's fine and handy when you're healthy. But we're talking about 95% of our population makes their living from providing a service. What do you think would happen if you get a heart attack or stroke or something where you can no longer work? Civil servants get medical boarded and literally have no income coming in. What happens to your family?
Yeah. Bankrupt.
So we have too many families literally one medical emergency away from being bankrupt. We can't talk about being a modern society without having some safety net for our people. And one of the things that I'm hoping for, I don't know exactly what amount it will yield. But at a minimum, if it yields what I think it would yield, then we can look back and say, you know what? Let us look at financial services, the fees that we charge in financial services. We have been having financial services carry the brunt of government revenues for the longest while, to the point now where financial services is becoming uncompetitive on a global scale. So at least if all goes well in that thing, we can look at rolling back the fees in terms of in some of the financial services products and services, the products that we have. We can also look at even customs duty, where some of the items that we have duty on that we can turn around and say, no, what? But we cannot make these duty free because these are stuff that people want.
What are some of the pushbacks? What are some of the pushbacks that you feel that you're likely to get from those persons who feel that they're going to be adversely affected by such attacks, like realtors and those high-end homeowners?
One of the things, I do my research. Every U.S. state, all 50 of them, is a property tax. So the foreigners you're talking about are coming from countries they're already paying property tax. So it is okay for them to pay property tax in their country on an annual basis, but they want to own property in the Cayman Islands and don't think as if there should be something. As Hawaii, I think the lowest at 0.29%, and I think New Jersey is the highest at 2.something%. So we looked at it in terms from that standpoint. And the other social good in it, OC, is that we have limited land space in Cayman.
Yes.
And matter of fact, I'm going to forward you something right now, and I want you to read it on air so people can directly see exactly what it is, and you can directly see for yourself. 1 second, I'm going to send this to you right now.
Sure, will do.
This is from the Cayman Resident magazine, and I want you to read it by on air, and then you can understand. People can understand. I just sent it to you on WhatsApp.
Excellent. Okay.
You can take it. I want you to read that to me right now, especially the part that is highlighted in blue.
Okay, just give me 1 second here.
As he pulls it up,
sure, go ahead.
As he pulls it up, Mr. Saunders, this is Kathy speaking to you as well. Thanks for calling in. I saw a couple of suggestions, and I think our caller also alluded to this idea of perhaps some sort of a fee going out on people sending funds back home.
first of all, that's already happening already as is. I mean, and if you look at the people who's actually paying that fee, it's pretty much the lowest paid people.
Okay.
The real money is actually the one that's in the bank. Those bank transfers are the very large sums. Now, at the end of the day, one of the things that you never want to really go at is really and truly money. I mean, from a transaction standpoint. But what I can tell you that I'm interested in going at, and this is one of the things that we are working on, is that exchange rate between the U.S. and the CI. I mean, that 4-cent spread is equivalent to 3.25%. And I think the Cayman currency has now been around now for more than 50 years, that we can say it's a stable dollar. And having that 4-cent spread that the banks are making a killing on the foreign exchange rate, I think is one of the things that needs to be addressed. One of the things that came up in one of my debates that I raised, and going to the banks again now, if you look at the last FEMA annual report, I think it was 22 or 23, whichever year it was, the average return on equity across all the banks in the Cayman Islands was 26% return on shareholders' equity. Thereabouts. Now, let me put that in context for you.
That's healthy.
Yeah.
The top 100 banks in the United States in the same period did around 11 or 12% average return on equity. In Canada, the bank that had the highest, I think, was RBC at 14%. And in the UK, I don't remember which bank it was, but the bank that did the highest return on shareholders was 18%. So the highest shareholder return in the same comparison year was 18% in the UK, and on average it was about 11 or 12% in the United States for the top 100 banks. For us to have an industrial average of 26% return on equity, it means that some banks were more than 26%. For the average to be that high.
Yeah.
So some would have been above 26, some would have been below 26. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And when you look at the fees and everything else that the banks are charging and the amount of money coming out, these are the conversations we need to have. But the problem that we have in Cayman OC, and I want to say, the people who give our people the most misery, the most stress, that keeps our people awake at night, are the people that make donations to people's political campaigns. That's it. You know what I mean? I'm going to say, you know what I mean? And they know exactly what it is they're doing. So it's okay for real estate agents to collect 5% or 7% commission on property and brag about, I mean, I remember one real estate company bragging about making the highest commission worldwide. Go back and check in memory. I don't want to pick them out because they're already coming at me as it globally, worldwide, at the highest commission base for one of the largest real estate companies who are selling a little bit amount of property here in Cayman. Look how small Cayman is. And you can be the highest earning office globally around the entire world. OC, by now you should get the stuff I said. I want you to read that for me.
Okay, it starts with a total of 66% of residents there voted no at a time when the state's coffers were already overflowing with revenue from oil activity. That's was there something before that? It says looking for states with no property tax is a typical move, while the smart move would be to look for countries with no property tax. Owning real estate is fast-growing safe haven jurisdictions offer better yield and appreciation potential, as well as the potential for significantly lower property taxes or none at all. Not only is foreign real estate owned in your own name a non-reportable asset for U.S. persons, but it also offers many other benefits as long as you can keep ownership costs low.
So you notice what they said right there?
Yeah.
Is what?
Non-reportable assets.
All right. Now read the first one I sent you just before that one. That's the one I want you to read first.
Okay. Tell you what, we need to go to a commercial break. We're going to put you on hold while we go to a commercial break, and we will resume with you as soon as we return. Please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Protect your computers and mobile devices with security software to defend against cyber attacks through viruses, malware, and other online threats. Be aware of unsecure Wi-Fi connections when in public. If you need to access your online banking or sensitive information on your mobile devices, try disabling the Wi-Fi and switching to data from your mobile network. If you suspect a fraud attempt, please contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At Valley Med Pharmacy on Walker's Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit Valley Med Pharmacy on Walker's Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with Valley Med Pharmacy.
The Chickens have built Cayman's first digital currency investment platform, Chickstarter. Powered by Massive Media, Chickstarter is a satirical business incubator raising money for local charities. Sign up for free now at chickstarter.ky and invest your 10,000 Chick coin in the special projects, each raising money for different local charities. 10 people will be randomly selected to receive a month's supply of local farm produce from Farmer Clarence as well. Full details and fun at chickstarter.ky. That's chickstarter.ky. Sign up and play for free today.
Social media, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube. Download our official Radio Cayman app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman Talk Today continues.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. We have former Deputy Premier, now Member of Parliament, Independent Member of Parliament, Mr. Christopher Saunders on the line. In the studio with me, we have Ms. Kathy Miller, who on Tuesday of this week discussed the private member's motion being brought to our Parliament by MP Chris Saunders, seconded by the Honourable W. McKeeva Bush. We still have Mr. Saunders on the line. I just want to say for those callers who are holding or wishing to call in, we did invite Mr. Saunders on. We did call him, so we're going to hold him for a while, but we're going to also give you an opportunity later on to chime in as well. So, Mr. Saunders, deport single-family homes, according to Claudia Sibiotto from Team Bovell, while there are only a few hundred single-family home property sales in Cayman each year, 74 had been sold by the end of June 2023 for an average value of $1.5 $1.66 million, which was 96% of the asking price. The average length of time to sell a single family home was 208 days versus 307 days for a condo. Again, there was an upward trend in the value of the property sales, and this increase has spilled over to Little Cayman and Cayman Brac. By July the 1st, 2023, there were 176 single-family homes for sale in Grand Cayman with an average listing price of $3.947 million. For homes that are part of a strata, there were 21 listed for sale for an average of $1.654 million, while there were 43 semi-detached homes listed for an average price of CI $1.278 million. In Savannah, the average
I think it
I
cuts
just said
off.
it afterwards.
Sure.
But the point I'm making is this.
Uh-huh.
When you look at those prices, those average prices,
Mm-hmm.
and recognize that this is a small island, and whenever people go into buy land, they look at the surrounding area, the values and everything else.
Right.
Tell me, in a country where the median income that most people make is between $3,000 to $4,000 a month, tell me how our young kids are going to be able to get a piece of the Caymanian rock that ain't growing.
Yep.
With these kind of prices.
Mm-hmm.
The income ain't moving or anything like that. And as you read earlier, when Americans own real estate in Cayman, it's a non-reportable asset. They sit down there and they're encouraged to make these kind of investments. You know what I mean? And they sit down there and wait for the prices to go up. They list it up, they move it up, and all that kind of stuff. And our people can't afford at this point
Precisely.
to even get a piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So while they're talking about, see, let me tell you something. If I really wanted to doom and gloom, and you would have been familiar that this is a former cabinet secretary, you know and I know that every successful government, there's one reason why the Auditor General have never signed off on the government entire public sector accounts. For one reason. The government does not record the unfunded medical liability for past and current civil servants. That number the last time I checked was $2.2 billion. That if we were to put that on government balance sheet, it would literally wipe out the government total net asset position, which is positive right now, which would then put the government in breach of the FFR.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no government has directly touched it. So we have that issue to deal with. Then there's also, in government itself, the unfunded pension liability, which as of the end of September was in excess of $350 million, where that also is still unfunded. So between unfunded medical and pension for just civil servants alone, you're talking about $2.5 billion. That's within the public sector. What I'm talking about right here is just looking at the private sector. And also, I want to show you something. I have a spreadsheet here where I track where the government spend is. I'm going to give you a few lines so you can understand. Health insurance premium for civil service pensioners. Back in 2018, it was $22.6 million. 5 years later, by the end of 2023, it was $42.5 million. Literally a $20 million, almost a $20 million increase in 5 years. And that's just the health insurance for civil service pensioners. When you turn around and you look at medical care for indigents, 2018 was $16.7 million. Last year, it was $22.6 million. You look at medical care for patients 60 years old and over. Back in 2018, it was $776,000. Last year, it was almost $6.9 million. So from $776,000 in 2018 to $6.9 million. You also look at medical care beyond insurance coverage for uninsured children. Back in 2018, it was $1.36 million. 5 years later, at the end of 2023, it was in excess of $5 million. So to go from 1.3 to 5 million. You know what I mean? You also look at medical care for chronic ailment, 609,000 in 2018, 1.8 million by 2023. You know what I mean? So even NGS 55, this is the famous one which covers tertiary care for non-HSA here. That was 34 million in 2018. Last year it was 55 million at the end of last year. So when you talk about government total health care costs, and again, this does not include the SAGCs, going from 141 million in 2018 to 246 million in 2023, 105 million in 5 years. These kind of growth, OC, is unsustainable, and we have an aging population.
Yep.
You know, no.
And it's not unique to the Cayman Islands in terms of the cost of healthcare and those that find themselves that are much more vulnerable, you know, suffering more than anyone else.
And so, OC, the question for us is simply this. Do we sit down knowing this and just pray? I mean, last time I checked, pray and hope are not policy. You know what I mean? And let's be honest. The pension system that we have right now is inadequate. And OC, I got to be honest with you right now. I am actually doing some research right now to see the best way in which we can say to, you know, and just accept, listen, guys, we tried our best with the pension. It's not working. Let's give back the people their money and let's create vehicles for them to invest in, make their own investment choice based on their investment appetite to see what it is that we can do. But just yesterday, I was speaking to one lady. Her pension lost like $7,000 in a year. You know, why are we paying people money to lose our money? I can do that myself. You know, I don't need you. I don't need to pay you to lose my money. Seriously. But these are the conversations that we need to have that nobody wants to have. Because why? In a small community, everybody goes to these cocktail parties and they're afraid. Oh, this. Listen, OC. You know, no one is telling you. The idea I have, I can't say it's original. New Zealand did something similar in the 90s when they recognized that they had an aging population too. So it's okay for all of these countries to sit down there and do it. But the minute we came now and get up and say, okay, no, we need to start planning for our future, it becomes a problem. You know what I mean? So I've reached a point, and listen, at the end of the day, OC, I need to be able to speak with myself. And every single week, the one thing that I deal with the most, every single week, myself in my office, is people look at the cynical health care. That would be a surgical process through any. That has been the biggest thing for most people. You know what I mean? So it's a situation, listen, at the end of the day, OC, my education was paid for the people of the Cayman Islands. I am glad that I was elected to office at a time when my brain power is still fresh and young and I still have some fight left in me. You know what I mean? Most of the other people, and that's one of the reasons why I've always said to people, I give former Premier Alden, it's props. He chose public service at a time when many other people out there are getting rich, when he could have done the same thing. And he chose public service. Some of his best productive years was spent serving the people of the Cayman Islands. You have other politicians who they wait till they make all of the bag of money, and when they're bored and they don't want nothing in the private sector, you see that all of a sudden now they're coming out to want to be the savior for people in the country. Come on now.
Yeah.
You already gave your best years making your money. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. You know, but for those who are sitting down, wanting to deal with these issues, let's deal with these issues.
Yep. Mr.
And
Saunders,
that's what needs to be done.
Yep. I want to thank you very much for making yourself accessible. I want to also say that, you know, for the record, I can speak definitively on for the record that we would be more than happy to have you on to you know, before you actually go to Parliament, so that you can talk to the people of the Cayman Islands, you know, about this. One of the things that we can say, Kathy, about, you know, he backs his arguments up with figures.
Absolutely.
Which many policymakers out there really don't do. It's a whim and a fancy, but he backs it up. And we know that there's going to be a lot of pushback because we know who this is going to hurt the most. I remember being an administrator for an estate, and the late Charles Quinn, Justice Quinn, property that was being sold, the estate property, and he looked at the percentage that the real estate company was getting for the sale of that, and he made a ruling that the real estate company could not receive, or the agent could not receive any more than a certain percentage of the sale, because he saw it as being astronomical and, you know, really out of hand, you know, what was being charged. So Chris, please keep in contact with us. I would love to have you back on for the record, and I'm sure speaking for Miss Kathy, she'd love to have you on the Business Buzz as well, even though Business Buzz doesn't run as long, a period of time as that. But we do have to go to a commercial break. Thank you very much for those callers who have been holding on. As soon as we return from the commercial break, we will be able to entertain your calls as well. Please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
During or after a storm, do not take unnecessary risks like going back into a dangerous area to salvage material possessions or refusing to evacuate. Remember, things can be replaced, but people cannot. Visit the Water Authority's website at www.waterauthority.ky for more hurricane survival tips.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
A $5,000 reward is being offered for the return of a missing dog that goes by the name of Spiky Haggis. Spiky is white cream in color and is a Pomeranian mix. He's a small dog that has a distinctive scar above his left hip. He went missing over a week ago in the area of Selkirk Drive and Bimini Drive. The public has been asked to keep their eyes peeled for Spiky, and if anyone has any information on the missing Pomeranian mixed dog, please call Cayman Vets at 525-5838. The number again is 525-5838.
Reflections annual countdown to Christmas sale is on now. Ladies, save 50 to 75% off selected fashion clothing, selected Adidas, Puma, and Nike sneakers discounted from 25 to 50% off. Make your gift giving super easy this year by getting Reflections gift certificates for everyone on your list. Converse kicks starting at $25 and bargains galore throughout the store. Guys, cargo pants, big and tall, $5.50. Levi's and selected Docker pants, 25% off. Every purchase above $49 at Reflections gives you the opportunity to win 2 free tickets to any Cayman Airways destination of your choice. Open Monday to Thursday, 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. Shop Reflections on Shen Road beside the Mango Tree.
See yourself in Reflections.
Reflections, always driving down prices.
The Business Buzz. Each and every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. Brought to you by
Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services.
And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Again, I want to thank MP Chris Saunders for giving us so much invaluable information in relation to his motion. And like I said before, he does his homework, he does his research and everything else. So, Ms. Kathy, and I should say that in the studio with me, I'm filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks, and in the studio with me is the host of Business Buzz, Ms. Kathy Miller. Of course, the Business Buzz is the, I keep calling creator, but the what was the other word?
It's produced.
The producer. The producer is our own Miss Susan Watson, that beautiful radio voice. The producer. So the conclusion, some of the conclusions on this study, the effects of
property taxes.
Property taxes on using dedicated property taxes to fund local public health agencies. The conclusion is that there are both positive and negative consequences of using dedicated property taxes to fund public health. Policymakers should carefully examine both the positive association of the improved health outcomes and negative impacts of taxation on poor populations before authorizing the use of dedicated local property tax levies to fund public health agencies. And then it gives some of the background. It says that in economic terms, public health is a public good. It is consumed by everyone collectively and benefits all of society equally. Safe drinking water, control of epidemics, and reducing the risk of environmental hazards all illustrate the collective consumption and social benefits of public health. The public health role of all levels of government for global disease and surveillance, distribution of pharmaceuticals, and public messaging to reduce the spread of H1N1 throughout the world is a timely example. Passage of a Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, which was the ACA in the United States, provides additional illustration. Authority in ACA for national investments in prevention and public health fund is intended to generate health benefits throughout all sectors of society. What we hear in the Cayman Islands, and those who have the power to make a difference, and when I say that, I'm talking about real estate agents, realtors, they have to consider the impacts or the negative impacts of not doing something. They have to consider whether or not they are going to put profits above good public health for those who cannot afford it.
I think that's a heavy statement to make on real estate agents. I do. That's it's a job that they're doing, and that, in my opinion, is something that should come from legislation.
It's a job, but is it altruistic? They're doing it for profit.
But aren't we doing most of our jobs for profit?
Yeah.
What about developers?
But we have a conscience, and we limit it. I will bet you. Can't bet much because I have to rely on a pension. But let's wait and see how many of them are going to come up with an alternative, with a solution, and say, no, we can't do this, but here's what we can do. They're going to all say, not me. The Nimbus syndrome is going to exist, not in my backyard.
But OC, I want to pose this question to you. If you were a developer and you have a piece of land, why would you instead choose to build a single family home or something around $300,000 to $400,000 for people to live in, when you have the opportunity as a developer to build something north of 1 or 2 million, keeping in mind that during COVID, the amount for supplies to come in, the cost for the supplies came in more than doubled, nearly tripled for developers. So there's a very small amount of anything they're profiting off of. And capitalism is a thing. That's what our country also thrives on, right? So, I pose that question to you as well.
Yeah. Well, if I don't have a social conscience and the government allows me to do it, to increase my profit margins as much as I possibly can, then I would do that if I didn't have a social conscience. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying is that there are not many real estate companies out there who are in it for a profit that really have any sort of a social conscience. With that, we'll take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Since 1976.
Covering Grand Cayman, no Cayman, on right. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market.
I'm April Cummings with your latest headlines. The Economics and Statistics Office reports 760 live births last year, with 47% girls and 53% boys. The ESO report shows roughly 59 of those births were to married couples, followed by the status never married at just under 35%. In international headlines, Jonathan Major's ex-girlfriend has reached a settlement, dropping her assault and defamation lawsuit against the once rising Hollywood star. Lawyers for Majors and Grace Jabari agreed to dismiss the case with prejudice. This is according to a joint filing in Manhattan federal court on Thursday. Jabari's lawyer said today the suit was favorably settled but declined to elaborate. A New York judge has delayed Donald Trump's scheduled sentencing as his attorneys continue to push for his conviction to be tossed out. Trump originally was going to appear in court for sentencing on the 26th of November. He was convicted on 34 felony fraud counts in May. His attorneys argue his conviction should be thrown out on the grounds of presidential immunity because it would interfere with his duties as president. The Manhattan District Attorney who prosecuted Trump plans to oppose that effort, but has suggested to the judge that sentencing the president-elect wait until after his second term in office. Justice Juan Merchan has paused all proceedings until he hears briefs from both parties, which are due in December. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
This holiday season, let Kirk Market do the roasting so you can do the hosting. Visit in-store or shop online and order your traditional family feast, complete with classic roasted turkey and ham, all the tasty sides and trimmings. Let the chefs at Kirk Market be your holiday helpers so you can spend less time in the kitchen. Order online at kirkmarket.ky or visit in-store today. And don't forget to visit the florist at Kirk Market to find the perfect centerpiece for your table. There's no place like Kirk Market for the holidays.
36 world finalists from 12 countries, 3 winning teams, and 1 global competition. It's the 2024 Young Chef, Young Waiter, Young Mixologist World Finals. This November 22nd to 24th in Singapore, and the Cayman Islands is in the finals. Cayman's Young Chef Champion, Brittany Bodden, Young Waiter Champion, Steph McDermott, and Young Mixologist Champion, Cody Wright, will be competing for the ultimate prize of $15,000. Join us in cheering on our young professionals, tomorrow's leaders in hospitality and service, as they represent the Cayman Islands on the world stage. Supported by the Ministry of Planning, Agriculture, Housing, Infrastructure, Transport, and Development. Radio Cayman Talk Today continues.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. My name is Orrett Connor, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks in the studio. With me, we have the host of the Business Buzz, which is aired live on Radio Cayman Tuesdays and Thursdays, Miss Kathy Miller, and of course produced by our own Miss Susan Watson. Kathy, I think you had some points that you wanted to raise as well.
I do, and I'm actually going to plug our show on this coming Tuesday.
Yep, go right ahead.
I've got 2 great guests, but one of them is
We won't
going to
send
be...
your bill. We won't send your bill.
one of them is going to be somebody who does own their own real estate company here, and I believe is one of the 10 founding members of the new real estate association, which is called the Cayman Islands Real Estate Association. So I will be joined Tuesday morning from 8:15 a.m. with him in studio.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'm going to leave that information with our listeners.
Sure.
So it's going to give a different perspective to this conversation because we have to give both sides.
Yes, yes.
So I guess one of the things I want to raise is I understand why Mr. Saunders brought this motion, because when you're looking at, wow, $80 million spent in, or near $80 million spent in healthcare, first, why was there $80 million spent? Like, that's a wild number, OC. So how did it get to $80 million? Because that's the reason that this whole motion is being brought forward, right? So that's a big concern, is let's look at the overspending happening and why isn't that more so being addressed?
Yep. And of course we have seen comments in relation to the concessions that past governments, I don't know how much, in terms of this current government, the concessions that have been given to developers in the Cayman Islands mainly. And if we go back, I heard someone else talking about the whole issue of, concessions and everything. In the 60s, when the Galleon Beach was built, they weren't granting any concessions. Those were the days when we needed hotel rooms, hotel space in the Cayman Islands. Of course, they benefited from a 99-year lease by the government of the Cayman Islands on the property that they were going to build on, a 99-year lease on that. But the government didn't give them any concessions, whatsoever. And after, when that property was sold, because I think it was a company called Elgin, they went into liquidation in the 60s, that Galleon Beach Hotel was sold for $250,000 then, which was a whole lot of money in the 1960s. But I personally believe that you need to offer concessions when you actually need people to come in to invest. Many people in Cayman argue everyone is clamoring to invest in the Cayman Islands. Why shouldn't you, if, like you have pointed out, you pay no taxes, no capital gains taxes or anything on your property that you own in the Cayman Islands?
Well, it's a non-reportable asset
so far. Because it's non-reportable, yeah. So why shouldn't you want to invest in the Cayman Islands? Do we really, really need to attract investors, or aren't they just naturally attracted because of all of the other things that we offer? And I say this one almost tongue-in-cheek: stable government. Even though we have
see why you say tongue-in-cheek.
Even though we have had, 3 changes in terms of deputy premiers.
But we've had 4 major changes in government in this last 4 years.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not going to let that number slip.
But even with all of that, even we continue to operate. There's no upheaval, no threat to any investors' investments or to local investment as well. Business as usual. Business as usual. So we offer all of those things. Do we need to offer additional financial incentives for people to come here? Plus, don't we have enough wealthy Caymanians who have the financial wherewithal now to do a lot of the things that we would normally want foreign investors to come in and invest in?
I think that we're definitely building that within Cayman. We have hit that with Caymanians. I mean, I'd have to go look at the stats that a YesHo likely has, to say, okay, this is kind of the average income, or I guess your assets that you have. And this is what it is in Cayman, amongst Caymanians and PR holders, for example, compared to your foreigners. There is a growing society in Cayman that is doing well in that sense, but that's still a small percentage of it. You're still looking at really the very, very top of the pyramid. And the country, in my belief, is not here just to serve the very, very top of the pyramid. It's everybody. It's everybody, from the lowest income workers to the highest income workers. And from what Mr. Saunders is trying to do with his healthcare, the motion for a healthcare protection fund, it's looking at everybody. Whether you do use those services or not, it is a safety net for Caymanians. It is a healthcare safety net. And it's primarily going to benefit the children that are 18 and younger, and seniors 65 and older. You did pose a question, are people, of a lot more wealth using the public healthcare as opposed to private? I'm going to go to Canada. And remember our first caller was speaking about Canada. It's almost 40% of your check is taxed in Canada. That's insane. That's a lot of money. And the Canadian dollar is really bad. It's really low. Thank you, Trudeau. But it's quite low. Canada, in the past 2 years, has introduced a foreign property restrictions. So there's not a tax, but as foreigners, you can't buy into Canada. It could have been, again, a tiered amount. I'm not entirely sure. I know Canada finally did a little something. So there's moves being made, but you have to make sure what you're doing is going to benefit all of society. I had a friend that moved back to Canada. She was here, went to the UK, is in Canada. Public health. She said, Kathy, I just, I pay for public health. It's free healthcare, but part of your taxes go to that, right? But she decided to go and pay for private. She goes, I can afford to. I can afford to do it, and I'm going to do it. There's a lot of people who can't afford to, and I'm not even going to go. And one, I don't want to wait, and two, I have the privilege and I have the money to be able to go for private healthcare, and that's what I'm going to do instead of draining the rest of Canada's resources. Right. But that's somebody with the mindset and that heart set, and what was that word that you that social conscious? I think it's conscience, right? So that's somebody who has that approach. Okay. But that's not most people out there, OC, right?
Yeah. And part of this article as well speaks to the fact that the public financing role of government is to allocate resources to meet the critical public sector needs of society that are not fully sufficiently funded by the private market. Because public health services are public good, it is financed primarily through the allocation of government resources, similar to other public services like local public health functions are funded by local governments and supplemented by state and federal government. And so again, and they point out that the primary source of revenues for local government is taxation, which is what our first caller talked about, the fact that and we have taxation in another form other than an income tax. We pay import duties, on things, and those are.
Can I hit on import duties?
Sure.
When I was researching, I saw something that was suggested that if it's because it's about healthcare, so what about increased duty fees or tariffs, you could say, on certain foods that are super high in sugar that we know is aiding to a really unhealthy lifestyle. So if I look at what, I think in December we're going to be able to see the published STEPS result from their campaign that they did. I believe it's early December. And so we're going to be able to see how all those kind of facts and figures that they've been sharing, that's not yet for public consumption, but we're going to see exactly how Cayman is doing from a health snapshot, way more than a snapshot. So when it comes to our lifestyle, the dietary ways that we're moving in, there are some places that have suggested or have implemented higher tariffs on foods, consumable goods that are very, very high in sugar. And I'll tell you one thing that works on me. I love chocolate. I love ice cream. I love baked goods. I love cakes. When I go to buy my favorite chocolate bar in the gas station and it is $6, $5.50 or something for a Cadbury, the bigger ones. That's in CI money, right?
I like the fruit and nut one.
Oh God, no! I'm gonna take all fruit away from chocolate. In my opinion, take all fruit away from chocolate. But I look at that and I'm like, it's how much? And I less often will buy that.
Mm-hmm.
So that figure, because it's passed off to the consumers, right, to the local people buying it, that alone is making me say, nah, I don't need to get this chocolate bar right now. And that might seem like a trivial thing, but it works. It works on me. I can tell you that.
Well, when we return from the commercial break, two things. We have seen some Caribbean countries that have tried this sugar tax.
Okay.
And there has been a lot of pushback.
Okay.
On it, I guess because of people's consumption habits that they're so ingrained in them now, it's very difficult. But also, those unhealthy foods are the ones that those persons who have a limited or a fixed income, that's all they can afford. So how do we make the healthy foods affordable, for those persons as well? So we may need to look at, and I like the whole idea when the Ministry of Health, of course it was a name change in nomenclature only and nothing else, Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how much the emphasis was placed on wellness, but we need to focus more, on that. I will always maintain that with such a small population that we have here in the Cayman Islands, we can do so much more because of our small size. We talk a lot about the fact that we're small and we accomplish so much. We have 100 and odd nationalities here in the Cayman Islands, remittances of 300 million, to one jurisdiction per year and all of that. If we can do all of those things, we must be able to address some of the life-saving needs that the population of the Cayman Islands have. Let's address that when we return from this commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back. Talk Today will be back shortly.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Did you know that 12.5% of Cayman residents are current smokers? In fact, this is significantly higher among men at 18% than women at 6.7%. Tobacco use, alcohol consumption, daily activity, and diet are all things which we can change that can significantly impact our health. The Ministry of Health and Wellness wants to empower you with information that can change your life. To learn more, log on to www.gov.ky/steps or follow us on Facebook. Let's step into wellness together, Cayman.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments December 7th to the 14th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited whether you're seeking advanced skin care, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles. Dr. Wayne Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com. That's drporterkman@gmail.com. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 946-9020.
A $5,000 reward is up for offer for the return of a missing dog that goes by the name of Spiky Haggis. Spiky is white cream in color and is a Pomeranian mix. He's a small dog that has a distinctive scar above his left hip. He went missing over a week ago in the area of Selkirk Drive and Bibony Drive. The public is being asked to keep their eyes peeled for Spiky, and if anyone has any information on the missing Pomeranian mixed dog, you're asked to call Cayman Vets at 525-5838. The number again is 525-5838.
What's up, Cayman? Universal Children's Day is celebrated on November 20th each year.
The theme for this year is For Every Child, Every Right.
In celebration of the children of the Cayman Islands and their rights, the Department of Children and Family Services is hosting a free Zumba party at the Art Cayman Bay on Sunday, November 24th.
The party will include a guest speaker, prizes, and lots more. The event runs from 2 until 4 p.m. and spaces are limited.
So be there early to join the Zumba fun.
Radio Cayman Talk Today continues.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. We're in the last leg of the show this afternoon. My name is Orrett Connor and I have been filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks. I am extremely grateful for Miss Kathy Miller and the opportunity to talk about private members' motion, also to MP Chris Saunders for sharing his viewpoint with us and more details than actually, that he could put in the motion itself, as well, despite the fact that there's so many whereas that you have to put in there, but that is what is required. But, I want to thank him very much, as well. And I hope he's able to take up the invitation to either on Talk Today or For the Record or even on Business Buzz because I believe a lot of people support what he is doing. There will be some pushback as well, but like one of our callers said, when the people, the voters, the man and woman on the street, when they're affected by it and they push back and people listen, and he used the example of the fee that was going to be imposed on or was proposed to be imposed on the credit union, right. And of $200,000 per year, and how there was a pushback, successful pushback to that as well. So I think he needs to get out there more and see how many people are actually, behind him on this. Now, the ones who are likely to give the greatest pushback are the ones with the money. But the people who are going to be positively affected by this, they're the ones with the vote.
That's true.
And let's see which one is more powerful, the money or the vote.
That's true. That's a good question, Elsie.
Yep.
Now tell us about the sugar tax that you found in some.
So Barbados has a tax on sugary drinks to fight disease, because we know that hypertension, diabetes, they're all associated with those things. And again, these are the issues that affect primarily lower income people, particular ethnic minorities, as well. And of course, they're all produced by big corporations, some with or without, my little terminology, a social conscience.
Yes, absolutely. I had somebody on the Business Buzz that was telling me there's actual can't remember the term of the role, but they're like scientists, and they're trying to figure out the exact things that drive your cravings, and they put that chemical into whatever the food, that company that they might be working for. And I'm sitting there like, man, it really bothered me that could actually be your job, that you need to find whatever that flavor is, that little chemical concoction, and inject that into the food or drinks that are being consumed. So, and that's not for the good of the people. That's people working on your craving that you'll want and want and want. That's almost like legal drug dealing, in my opinion.
Yeah. And they produce it as cheaply as they can to again increase their profit margins at the end of the day.
Yep.
Yeah. But this whole idea of taxation of foreign property was something that years ago I was a proponent of. And at that time, I saw people were complaining about Caymanians not owning property. And if you my suggestion then was to impose a tax on undeveloped property owned by non-Caymanians.
You mean just land?
Yes,
Do you mean land?
Yes.
That's
raw
a bit of an
land.
issue. Can you explain that? Because I've just learned that that's actually a bit of an issue, that people could sit on that land forever, wait till it appreciates, and then, flip it.
Well, our property ownership in the Cayman Islands is so liberal that, unlike the fact that, in order for you to open a bank account, you have to go through so much in the Cayman Islands, and it's much more difficult for a foreigner to open a bank account in the Cayman Islands now. But you can go out there and own as much property as you want.
It's a good point.
Without having permanent residence or without possessing Caymanian status, you can just simply go ahead and buy it.
Without any mandate that you must develop on this property by a certain amount of years after acquiring it. That's what I understand is a problem.
So the option would be you either pay the taxes on it, and we could take those funds and ring fence it for particular purposes, for instance, healthcare, or they will choose to sell the property. If they sell it to another non-Caymanian, then they would be subjected to the fee unless they developed it, or they sell it to the Cayman. That was one way of getting property back in the hands of Caymanians.
Okay. It's a tricky subject to approach, and I definitely don't have all the solutions. But I like that we are exploring some of the ideas, the motion that was proposed, some of the ideas that are out there, alternatives to the real estate property fee, like we'd spoke about. Barbados is having a sugar tax, right? Some people are saying income tax. I don't want to go there. I don't want the Cayman Islands to go there, right? It's a great attractive thing of being here, and I can't believe I can't remember if it was Mr. Saunders or if you had brought it up that said we are getting a lot of competition from other offshore jurisdictions where finance is, their number one contributor to the economy because our fees keep going up. And I believe it was just suggested that more financial fees increase. And it is very true that other jurisdictions are getting a large chunk of what used to be in Cayman. They're moving elsewhere because of these fees. So we got to be very careful on how we handle the financial industry in Cayman, the financial services industry in Cayman. I think I don't know if we got a call for us, but I saw the phone dinging. Oh, wait.
Do you have a caller, Miss Susan?
No. Oh, that wasn't for us. All right.
Yes, we do have a caller.
Okay.
Let's grab the caller. Yes, we're almost out of time. We have less than 3 minutes, but we're going to take the caller. Sorry. Good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon again.
Good afternoon again, sir.
Lead into yourself. It'll be very short.
Okay.
The reason why I suggested direct income tax, there will be no chance for pushback. When the government implemented the mandatory health insurance and mandatory pensions, they didn't ask, they did. As I said before, the reason for it, as I can hear, the lack of courage. We are going to have to pay direct income tax one day. It is inevitable, or the British government may force it on us. What they've got, as I said before, and I can hear in the voices of others onto it, this rigmarole roundabout way, brilliant thing by Mr. Saunders and so forth, but is a lack of courage. I say it again, the first of all human qualities, it guarantees all the others. That lack of courage, and that's what will stop this on any attempt. Direct income tax is the answer. Barbados has it. They have direct income tax. Everybody around. I've lived and worked in 3 other countries besides my home here, and I've never known of any country that doesn't have some form of direct income tax. Bermuda is in the same business as we are, and they have payroll tax, and it brings them, I know, way over $300 million a year, and I don't see anybody running away.
Yep.
But lack of courage, again, that is our problem. Talk, 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 talk. No courage. Thank you so very much. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Thank you, caller. You do the same as well. I mean, I'm not a slash and burn person. I use that terminology because, in my, I minored in history, majored in political science.
This makes sense to me now.
And the colonial, in the colonial powers, they had something, which was called basically slash and burn, in many of their colonies. And then when they left many of them in tatters as well. I don't believe that we're going to see a flight of certain type of capital from the Cayman Islands if certain things are introduced. And this will be a little bit controversial. And even if it did, you know what? It gives us an opportunity to recalibrate and start all over again to a certain extent. Start again and try to get it right the next time.
I want to add that so many people, including people that live here, call the Cayman Islands paradise. And if some sort of a fee, like the one being proposed in the motion, was introduced, that doesn't mean Cayman is no longer paradise. So, going back to your point, I don't see the capital flight either in that sense. I don't see people moving their investments in other places. It is still
and there are certain
paradise.
things that they can't move.
Exactly. It is still paradise for the majority. So that is my ending thought.
Yeah, Ms. Kathy, I want to thank you. Thank you very much. I hope I can reciprocate and at some point in time be on your show and do the favor, of having, of being on there and, having the stellar support that you've given me this afternoon and talk today as well. I want to thank all of those persons who participated as well. I want to say to everyone, have a great weekend. I hope it remains nice and cool. Weather not too windy though, because I want to get out on the bike on Sunday, as well. Not too windy, but nice and cool. Wherever Sterling Dwayne Banks is, we say we hope that we are making you proud, that we're holding down the fort for you. In the meantime, have a great weekend, and as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these free, beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands, even if we end up with taxes.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.